The next step in our process is A, ask the right questions. So in asking the right questions, what we're doing is really discovering what's going on with that particular lead and their student. So our discovery is about finding the pain points to help tap into that emotional need. And it's very important that while you're doing this discovery, you're listening. Some different discovery points and pain points that we find from our students is that they've always struggled. Homework is so hard. We fight all the time. Things were fine until last year. He hates math. We're just too busy to help her. Well, he doesn't do well on tests, and we really want to improve those grades. We've tried tutoring, it didn't work. We really want to prep for the SAT and the ACT. Oh, my son is homeschooled, so we're not used to a standard curriculum. Oh, Kelly, she has no confidence in what she's doing in math, and we really want to help her with that. Oh, Susan, she has a midterm coming up and a really big exam. We want to make sure that she does well on that. Oh, Billy, he failed the FSAs last year. Or the EOCs, we scored a 2. K-Prep, we scored a 4. And SOLs, oh goodness, let's not even talk about that. They haven't mastered anything from last year. Kelly doesn't like her teacher. Oh, it's a horrible, awful teacher. Oh, at this point, we're just so frustrated. I'm seriously considering changing schools. Or we just moved from Texas and we moved to a Florida school system that doesn't match up. Oh, this Common Core, man, it's just killing us. We don't know how to teach any of it. Oh, Kenny's taking Florida virtual school, so he has Algebra 1 in school and Geometry online. Oh, well, Kelly's enrichment, so she's no longer challenged in what she's doing in school, and I really want to keep her ahead of everybody. Well, Brandon, he loves math, and he just really wants to keep doing stuff outside of school. So, I just want to help Susan and get her ahead. That's really, our main focus here. What are some other things that you can think about that would really affect why someone would come in and be interested in Mathnasium? Go ahead and brainstorm some things and pause your video and write them down. So for our elementary level students, the next portion of our lead sheet is really talking about their child's math skills. So tell me about your child's math skills. How has math been for the last couple of years? We're going to ask these specific questions because we want to make sure that we're diving in and getting all of the information that we really need. Tell me about homework time. Is it easy? Painful? Have there been tears and tantrums? Tell me about schoolwork, your tests, your quizzes. Is it great? Are the grades low? Is it inconsistent? Sometimes you have A's and sometimes you have C's. And then tell me, if I ask 8 plus 7 or 9 plus 6, how fast are they giving you that answer? And how accurate are they? Are they off by 1 or 2? Are we finger counting, writing notches on paper, counting on our toes, or counting on by ones in our head, or tapping maybe? That we see sometimes too. These questions are really going to help us accomplish, understanding the full spectrum of what's going on with our students. For our 4th grade and above, we would ask questions like, tell me, if I asked 8 times 7 or 9 times 6, have we mastered our multiplication facts, or are we still counting on? How are their fractions and their problem solving? Those are huge pain points that we find with our students that are between 4th and 7th grade. And how have we done on standardized tests? And there's different types of standardized tests depending on the states that they're in. So for our Florida students, it's going to be our FSAs, and they start in 3rd grade. 50% of our students fail the FSAs, and a passing score is a 3, meaning 50% of the material was mastered, which really, that's not mastery. That's only half of your content from the year. Kentucky, they have what's called K-Prep, and again, that starts in 3rd grade. And it falls along the lines of the FSA, where 50% of the students still fail. In Arkansas, we have the ACT Aspire, which isn't as structured as Kentucky and Florida. And then in Connecticut, we have what's called Smarter Balanced, and it's going to be the standardized testing based off of Common Core, like the others, that are 3rd through 8th grade. And then in private schools, we have what's called the Iowa test, and it's an entrance exam, and it keeps up with all of their skills throughout their school years. Our last question that you always want to ask when speaking with your parents are, what are your goals in bringing your child to Mathnasium? That way, there is hands down an exact reason that they're going to give you for coming in. Our 5th through 8th grade and pre-algebra students, so tell me about your child's math skills. How has math been the last couple of years? What math classes are they taking this year? Because once they hit pre-algebra, the classes are named pre-algebra, algebra, geometry. It's not your standard math. Tell me about homework time. Is it easy, painful? Does it get done? Once a student's old enough, homework is no longer graded question by question. It's graded based off of completion. Tell me about your schoolwork, your tests, your quizzes. Is it great, low, inconsistent? Maybe we're not even doing our schoolwork. And how are their multiplication skills, division, fractions, decimals, percents? These are all pain points for those 5th through 8th grade pre-algebra students. How do they do with problem solving and word problems? Across the board, that's always going to be a struggle, because not only do they have to learn the process, but then they have to apply it to a real world situation. And just like with our younger students, how have we done on standardized tests? And what are your goals in bringing your child to Mathnasium? Algebra 1 and above, we might have to dig in a little bit more. So we'll start with tell me about your child's math skills and how has math been the last couple of years? What math class are they taking this year? And tell me about schoolwork, tests, quizzes, and homework. Now, when we start talking about how have we done on standardized tests, you could have multiple answers for this. So these students are going to take FSAs in their younger years and then take EOCs, or end of course exams, later on once they're taking Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry. Now, a huge thing is they must pass the Algebra 1 end of course exam to graduate from high school. So they are graded on a scale of 1 to 5, and 3, just like with the FSA, is a 50% mastery. So that doesn't mean that they've really mastered anything. In Kentucky, it's going to be an Algebra 2 EOC is 20% of their final grade. So the students are also asked to take the ACTs and not the SATs like we do here in Florida. In Arkansas, the students take the ACTs, not the SATs, and they're still going to focus on that ACT Aspire exam. And Connecticut will still be focusing on the prior SMART materials. And private schools still stick with the Iowas, and then they'll do the pre-SATs and the SATs. Now here's where it gets a little bit more in depth with talking with Algebra 1 and above students. Did they take Algebra too soon and skip prerequisites? Now what this means is you have a student who's typically in 7th grade Algebra 1. And when that happens, you have a student who did really well on their 5th grade materials, so they bumped them immediately into pre-algebra in 6th grade, instead of giving them the pre-algebra 6th grade material, where they focus more in depth on fractions and decimals and percents. So they typically skipped an entire year of math because they're brilliant. And then once they get to algebra, they have gaps now of things that they didn't do extra practice or expand on. How do they do with word problems? Or if they're in geometry, how do they do on their proofs? And what are your goals, again, in bringing your child here to Mathnasium?